Hi guys. So I'm about to install my BoomRacing Phat axles on my Galende chassis, and there's a couple of details that I wanted to show. It's not a direct replacement. The Galende chassis uses a panhard system. Well, the Gelande 2 anyways. I don't know, I'm not sure about the TF2. I think the TF2 uses leaf springs. But it's not a direct replacement either way. On the BoomRacing one, you got the servo mount up here. It's missing, to be a direct replacement, it's missing the panhard bracket, which is here, which it doesn't exist here, and the shock mounts, which are here, which doesn't have on here. Now, I can actually remove these screws to locate the shocks here, put some longer screws in and put like a nylon lock nut on top of it. It should be fine. But for the panhard, it's a little more complicated. Now I need to see if the screw position on these two is the same as these two, so I can put my system on the BoomRacing axle. I wanted to install the BoomRacing upper bracket, but the positioning isn't the same for the upper link, so I'm going to install the complete RC Photo Drive upper link system with the panhard setup, so that we can keep the stock setup on my Galende chassis. The way I see it, the way the BoomRacing axle comes as stock is great for a custom setup and for a 4-link suspension with the servo mounted on the drive shaft, with the servo mounted on the diff itself. At least the parts are compatible. This way, we can set up our Galende chassis as stock, aside from adding the longer screws to be able to mount the shocks. Now I'm not there yet, so I'm not 100% sure it's going to work. So let's finish this up and see where it goes from there. Loosen this up before I put this on. So while the BoomRacing Phat axle is looking pretty solid, there are some inconveniences, if you will, if you're installing it as a stock setup on your Gelande 2 chassis. If you look here, the stock BoomRacing diff comes with a plate on top on this piece here, mounts this way to mount the servo on the diff. Now the Gelande does not have room underneath the motor for a servo. As soon as you would compress, it wouldn't fit. At the same time, the stock position of my panhard link here would touch the diff casing, or here I had to move it down here, so I had to make a shorter panhard link, mount it up a bit higher so that it doesn't touch, and it comes awfully close like this. Also, on the BoomRacing diff, the shocks mount on this piece here. This piece, along with the center link brace and servo mount, as they put it, the shocks would mount here with this piece, because this piece would mount this way, and your links would mount to the bottom piece here, and your shocks would mount here. If you did this, the shocks would mount all the way to here and would be on an angle, an improper angle, and would probably hit the chassis as well. So I took the standard screw that was here, the screw that holds the gearbox together. I put a longer screw in so I can mount the shock on it, and it's actually a pretty good fit because the shocks are slightly outwards and allow for some good movement and don't hit anything. And the other thing is the steering. I had mentioned before that the steering arm was a bit flimsy, and it's, it is pretty flimsy, and it mounts in front. Now the stock Galende chassis, the steering mounts in the back underneath this way. Now we can't do this because there's only one steering link, whereas the Gelande has a double-sided steering link on the knuckle. So all that being said, I still like them. They seem very well made, albeit not really properly designed for this chassis. Maybe they need to tweak it. They need to rework it a little bit to make it fit. Anyway, I can't wait to try it. I still have to mount the steering and the rear diff itself to my custom cantilever suspension. Hopefully it won't be a problem. And I guess I'll get back to you next time. See ya.